Johnny here with a fun and simple draw along for you all. Today we're going to be drawing Tuk Tuk from the movie Raya and the Last Dragon. So grab a paper, pencil, and eraser, and let's dive in. I'm going to start my drawing off here, marking off my borders, just so I could stay in frame. But I do suggest that you try this on your own piece of paper, just so you could keep your drawing centered. You know, sometimes we get into a drawing and we realize it's off to one side too much, or maybe even spilling off the page. Just marking the borders helps you keep everything right in the middle where you want it. Okay, so this is going to be different from other drawing tutorials you might have seen. Instead of, say, drawing all the details like the eyes, nose, and mouth first and building our way out of that, we're going to take kind of the opposite approach. We're going to draw the big shapes first and do what we call a lay-in or a block-in, so we could get an idea of the size and shape of this character, and then on top of that, we'll add the details. So you'll see what I mean as we draw, if you don't get it yet. We're gonna start with the head and just draw a nice flat oval shape for the head. And then for the body, the shell, we're gonna come in here and add a dome shape. So I'm gonna make it flat, somewhat flat here on the bottom. And then I'm gonna dome above over here, right to the top of the head. And at this stage of the drawing, you wanna make sure that you're drawing really lightly, because along the way, we're gonna make a lot of adjustments and corrections. And the lighter you draw now, the easier it's going to be to erase and make all those adjustments, okay? And then here, I'm just going to draw a line pretty close to the body. This is going to indicate the ground, and it's going to help when we draw the feet to make sure the feet are even, okay? Okay, so the basic shapes are exactly where we need them. Now let's start adding the details on top of that. So what we're going to do first is we're going to draw a midline for the head, but since the character is not looking straight at us, we're not going to draw the line here down the middle. It's going to be turned to the side just a bit. So this is what the midline is going to look like. This is a vertical midline, splitting the head vertically up and down. And then we're going to draw a horizontal midline, splitting the head into 4 equal parts, but they don't look equal again because the head is turned, right? So let me clean this up actually. It's looking a bit messy here. As you draw each step of the way, you want to make sure that any mistakes you see, you want to take the time to correct them then and there. Because if you just avoid them and try to save fixing them till the end, your drawing will be built up to a point where sometimes you can't make those corrections anymore. Okay, so we have our face broken up into 4 equal parts. Let's start from the head, top of the head down. So she has these little antlers up here. We're going to draw them just some little curves like this. Okay, one on each side of this midline. Very small, okay? And I could darken this line up here now. When I darken a line up, it pretty much means it's going to be part of the final drawing. So instead of some of these guidelines that are really light, we're going to erase those at some point. Okay, the eyes are, we're going to do big eyes here. They're not perfect circles. They're kind of slanted a little bit. So I'm just drawing it along this midline that we drew. So the bottom part is going to drop a little bit below that midline. And then the top part, actually, I need to make it bigger. So I'm going to make it like that. Okay. Let me erase this here. And then the other eye, because it's the eye that's turned away from us, we're seeing less of it because it's at a different angle. So how we're going to do that one is we're going to come over to the side here, go flat a little bit with this side. Okay. And then we're going to curve out. All right. And then for the inside of the eyes, keep it very simple. We're going to curve in here. He has really big pupils. So this is actually the pupil. And then the part right here is what we call the iris. So if you're thinking it in terms of like a person's eye, the pupil is the black dot right in the middle. And then the iris is the part where it's around where, you know, people have like brown, blue, green eyes, stuff like that. That's the colored part would be here. So here in the pupil, you want to make sure you shade that pretty dark because it's, again, the darkest part of the eye. So you could tell I'm going over several times just to build up that darkness in the shade. Right? You don't need to press hard. Just the more times you go over it, the darker it's going to get, and the more even tone you're going to get. And then this part is lighter than here, so I'm just going to go over once. And you can see the difference in the shading, right? So here we're going to do the same thing. First, I'm going to draw the pupil here, and then the iris, and the highlight. So this highlight is where the light is reflecting off the eye, and it's the brightest point. When you're shading, you want to avoid that as much as possible. Keep that as white as you can. And then shade in the iris. I think I need to make the pupil a little darker. Okay. And then the nose, very simple. We're just going to come right here between the eyes. Right on this midline, we're going to start with a slight curve like this. And then the bottom part of the nose, we're just going to meet down here on this midline again. So you see how helpful these lines are, even though they're just guidelines. Okay, and then for the mouth, we're gonna, again, find this vertical midline. We're gonna draw a smile shape first. And then here, we're gonna use this midline again to guide us for our teeth. Curve down, and then down. See, and then the midline is right there, right in between. To finish off the mouth, I'm just going to curve in on that side, and same thing on this side. Okay, then you can go ahead and shade that in as well. Right. So let's get the cheeks in here. Actually, let's start up here. I'm going to darken this line for the side of the head. And then for the furry cheeks, like here, we're gonna add some fur shapes, just little curves and spikes. You could go curve them down or you could curve them up, it's up to you. But what you want to make sure of is this guideline here for the side of the cheek, we're actually going past that. So it's changing the head shape just a little bit. Okay, so just draw those curves here. Right. And once you get back to the bottom here of the chin, you could darken that up. And then move on to this side here. So again, we have the guideline here, but the fur is gonna go past that, just like this. See? Just darken these up so they stand out. All right. And then he has these little eyebrows up here. This one is gonna connect actually to the eye. Like that. Okay. I'm just gonna bring this right here behind the eye because the eye is, it's curved out, so it's covering some of the side of the head here. All right. Now let's move on to the shell. I'm gonna start here at the part closest to his head, and we're going to break the shell up into several parts. But first, I'm going to come in here, following this bottom edge, I'm going to curve up and in. Okay, so this is going to guide us on the different sections. So here's going to be one section, then we're going to tuck in behind this. Okay. And then curve in as well. Same thing here. And curve in. I'm going to go past a little bit this guide that we drew. So like I said, we're going to make adjustments along the way, right? This is one of those adjustments. I see that this is kind of small, this space, to have a fourth section, so I'm just making that section bigger. And then we're going to curve in here as well. All right. Great. So once we have our sections planned out, now all we need to do is come up and around, following the shape of the shell. And then close it here on the other side. See? So we have one section, then the next section. We're gonna curve in a little bit. Then switch that curve here. And then come all the way around. Just make it nice and smooth, right? All right, then this one we're gonna try to follow the same shape as much as we can, or the same curve. I find if you don't pick your pencil up, but if you move pretty quickly, you can get a pretty smooth line. Like that. Okay, then this one we just need to close off. There. And for the feet, we're almost there. For the feet, we're gonna bring it down. I think I need to bring the ground closer. Okay, because he has really short feet, as you can tell. All right. So we're gonna come here right down underneath the chin. going to draw this foot here. Very simple. So we're just going to come down here like this. Follow the ground. And then for the toe, we're just going to curve up. Same thing for the other toes here. Just follow that same shape and pattern. And when you get up here, we just curve up back this way. And that's your foot, very simple. We could add some claws here. Color them in black, shade them in black. Just coming up here, right at the tip of the toe, adding that claw. Okay. Let's do the other feet. So this one, I'm coming in underneath the shell. But same looking pattern as these feet here, as the other foot that we drew. Okay, so following the ground, curving up, curving up. Okay. Then adding the claws. Okay, and last foot. We're only drawing 3 feet here because the other foot is covered up behind these feet in front. And last claw here. There you go. So we have everything in place, all the shapes, all the details. Now, before we call it an actual finished drawing, we're going to take the time and look at the big picture, see if there's anything, last adjustments or corrections that need to be made. Like for me, I'm going to darken up some lines and clean some things up, straighten things out. Get rid of this. Get rid of these guidelines. When you take the time to make these last corrections and refinements, that's what's going to make your drawing look really nice and polished at the end. It takes a little extra patience, a little extra work, but it's worth it. Round it out a little bit more here. And there you go. There's Tuk Tuk. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.